Good afternoon, everybody. Adam here again, Adam Monk. We've got both Adams back now, Mr. Cleary and Mr. Monk. So I'll be Adam too for now because I'm a new starter. But anyway, with that said, what happened this weekend? Well, that happened there. And if you need a reminder,
I feel sick. That's how I feel. I feel sick to be part of this.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta was not happy, was he? To put it lightly. But let's talk about that. So Arteta is facing a lot of criticism for his comments after the Newcastle game, and not only that, the club statement that followed as well. Every angle of the media is kind of having a pop at him at the moment. Both Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville have said that he's out of line on Sky Sports. And of course now Liverpool fans are piling on Arteta after his quotes after the Spurs game saying that referees make mistakes and need to be shown support, which is a little bit hypocritical on a surface level. However, I think everyone is missing the point on why Arteta has said what he said after that game and the genius behind it. So let's get into it. Now, firstly, let's talk about the goal, because I think, in my humble opinion, that it was a goal and should have been allowed, as you can see in the background here. Now, I can't really explain why the ball was in play from the bounds of my bedroom. However, Mark and Adam over in London can. So take it away, boys.
Right, so we very neatly recreated the exact setup that led to that controversial Newcastle goal. As you can see here, Arsenal are very well set. They've got the box pretty much covered. Anthony Gordon's loitering about. Joe Linton's yet to do the thing that Joe Linton did. And Joe Willock has just rescued what looked like a ball going out of play. Now, Mark, from there, you're filming this. You can see that ball is so out, isn't it? There's practically daylight between that and the thing. But if we just pass the camera over very cleverly now, you can see that ball is still in. I'm sure all Arsenal fans will agree that's a very scientific way of doing it and proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that that ball was in.
Thank you, guys. Very eloquently put. Now, the argument really that Arsenal fans have been putting forward after the game, and rightly so I think, is that there should be enough cameras, given the money that's in the Premier League, given that it's the best league in the world supposedly. They should have cameras and camera angles covering every blade of grass and every possible boundary that could affect play and affect a decision like the one that happened on Saturday night. Now, that is a valid argument. However, what VAR have to do from that position when they see the ball there and it's dubious whether it is out of play or not, is they have to give the attacker the benefit. That is in the rule book, okay? We've seen it time and time again. So unless it is goal line technology, like I recall the John Stones clearance against Liverpool 3 or 4 years back, that was definitive. It looked like it had crossed the line but just about hadn't. They could measure that and it was empirical, whereas this one on a byline, they can't be 100% conclusive, so they have to give the attacker the benefit of the doubt. And to be honest, from that angle, me personally, I think it has just stayed in play. Perspective plays a big part in these things. Anyway, now let's talk about the foul from Gabriel, allegedly. Now, of course, the phrase that gets bandied around is clear and obvious with VAR. Everything has to be clear and obvious to be given. And the fact that no two pundits can say whether that wasn't or was not a foul means it's fairly dubious and subjective. I think it's one of them that, can be given both ways. I don't think it clearly shows a foul, but for me, that is a push in the back. I would be giving that. We've seen it happen before. I guess it is just open to interpretation. So Arsenal do have a right to feel slightly hard done by there, I feel, more so than the ball allegedly leaving the pitch, which it didn't. Now, before I talk about the onside, I am actually just going to rewatch the goal, so bear with me. I will be right back. Yeah, even Gary Neville has said it there. Even he's not sure. I'm not either, really, from viewing it. The whole goal in itself is just very, very dubious. I can see why some Arsenal fans feel aggrieved and possibly Arteta, but for me, it was a goal. Now, let's talk about Arteta. Now, he's no doubt angry, as I showed you at the start of the video.
I feel sick.
But he's also not stupid. I think that he can see that this is all incredibly unfortunate, but he also thinks that it is actually correct refereeing. Now, hear me out. So while the officials in general were pretty poor, let's say, during the entirety of the game, not just that goal, the only real clear mistake that was made in that game was not sending Bruno off for that sort of palm elbow thing that you just can't do on a football pitch. He should have been sent off for that. But he can't really complain about that publicly, because you could argue that Kai Havertz was equally as fortunate to stay on the pitch and could have been given a red card on any other given day for that, again, dubious high foot that was in the first half. So what he's really done, in my opinion, is use the dubious goal. I need to stop saying dubious. Stop saying dubious. I'm going to think of a different word and come back to you. So what he has done is use the contentious goal as a way to create a them versus us mentality. What it's rather geniusly done now is made Arsenal fans move away from talking about things like Raya versus Ramsdale and whether Nketiah's good enough to start up front full stop, for instance, and they're now rallying behind a team that feels as though they've been served a serious injustice. And what I don't think a lot of people are realising is this kind of behaviour from a manager is straight out of the playbook of some of the elite managers we've seen over the years. So take the obvious example, Sir Alex Ferguson. Well, he used to take it a step further. He actually used to ban parts of the press from attending press conferences if they'd say certain things about the team, not necessarily relating to, decisions and stuff, but he did ban his fair share of journalists, which created a sort of a mentality around the club that, the media and the press were out to get them, that they were almost the pantomime villains and could play up to that. It was them against the world back when United were in their pomp, and Ferguson really had that tactic down to a T, and it worked a treat for 26 years? Well, 21 or 2, because he started slow, but, he picked things up and did pretty well, did Alex. And then, of course, there was Jose Mourinho, who was arguably the best to do it in the 21st century, full stop. His approach was to be braggadocious and arrogant when he came to England after, of course, winning the Champions League with Porto in 2004. And what that really did was paint him as the pantomime villain and then just deflect all the pressure away from his players. The focus was always on Jose, what he had to prove in English football, to which he just always rebuff.
Sir Alex is the only one European champion in this country. Nobody else. So I have to prove what?
Congratulations, well done today.
Thanks a lot.
Another great example of this from Jose Mourinho as well was actually at his time at Manchester United, which, as we know, was not as successful as his time at Chelsea. But when United got dumped out of the Champions League by Sevilla, of course, the media, the public, they wanted to hound the players. And that's when Mourinho came out with his
football heritage
speech, which, of course, we all remember, and that's all anyone was really ever talking about for weeks on end afterwards, and it really did just take the heat off what was a disappointing loss, which again is what Arteta's trying to do. And then Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, of course, the cast iron elite managers of the modern game right now, they also do it, but in slightly weirder ways. Jurgen Klopp will always find extraneous variables to blame a loss on, whether it be the wind or the long grass and stuff, but it still kind of does work. I mean, people might point and laugh at Klopp, but what it does is steer the narrative away from the players, take the pressure off them, create a bit of a them versus us mentality, and it has helped Klopp because he's done very, very well in his time at Liverpool. And then, of course, Pep Guardiola, probably the one who does it in the weirdest way, because if his team lose, he just says, "That was the best performance I have ever seen." Yeah, not my best impression there. It actually sounded a bit more like Arteta, really, didn't it? But you get the point. He really does just... The team can do no wrong when they do lose a game, and then, what that does is, again, deflect pressure off the players, and that is all Mikel Arteta is doing, and he's utilised this goal to perfection, in my opinion. So listen, it's very, very easy to mock Mikel Arteta. Another thing being the club statement that was, of course, issued yesterday supporting Arteta. Now, one thing you should know, which I kind of know from when I used to work at Man City, is that when club statements are issued, they are usually approved from the higher-ups, that being the coaches and the board, meaning that that club statement may well have just come from Arteta himself, which just reinforces what he's doing, really. So it's easy to mock him, but realistically, I think he's actually doing what we've seen several elite managers do beforehand, and he's playing a little bit of 4D chess. But look, they know they're going to be in a dogfight till the end of the season if they do want to challenge for silverware, and sometimes you just have to play these kind of mind games with the media, with the public, with the narrative. You've got to control it a bit in any way possible, and that's what I think Mikel Arteta has done this weekend to perfection, despite the result. So there we go. You can let me know in the comments whether you think Arteta is playing a little bit of 4D chess and is being a bit of a genius, or whether you think I'm an idiot and I'm wrong. I'm fine with both. You just let me know. But I really do think a lot of what Arteta does goes under the radar. Behind the scenes, the control that he's integrated into the team. And now he's playing by the managerial playbook that a lot of elite managers have done in years gone by. So I think he's actually been very, very clever here. Anyway, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow in the wake of the Tottenham-Chelsea game. Should be a good one tonight. So I'll see you soon. Au revoir.